So, we have some very interesting developments when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers and their goaltending situation. Now, over the past few weeks, we have been making a bunch of videos talking about Jack Campbell, Stuart Skinner, the downward spiral that Campbell seems to have gone down this season from the NHL to the AHL to getting called out by his AHL coach, also bringing up the idea as to whether or not he could go to the ECHL even. That's not possible, but it was an idea we had discussed. Things have been really bad for Jack Campbell. But when it comes to the Oilers' goaltending, just in general, ever since Campbell left the team, things have gotten a little bit better. Stuart Skinner is starting to pull his weight a little bit more. Cal Pickard has come out here with the best save percentage on the team, albeit it's still an .898, so not the best. But when it comes to what's been cooking in the AHL, we did talk the other day about how Jack Campbell's AHL stint has been so bad to the point that he's no longer the main guy with that team. That honor belongs to one Olivier Rodrigue, who, just a few nights ago, was named one of the 3 stars on the night in the AHL. Now, this is just one night in the AHL where he was named a 3rd star. He had himself 37 saves and 1 goal against in the game that we're talking about. But this feeds into a bigger idea that Olivier Rodrigue has actually been one of the best goalies in the entire AHL, and it's not even really close. Now, when you take a look at it, Rodrigue is a prospect drafted by the Oilers in the 2nd round 2018 overall draft, 62nd overall, and ever since being a pretty good, not really the best, but kind of okay goaltender in the QMJHL. I mean, he maxed out at a .918 save percentage in 39 games played, which isn't the best, but then again, the QMJHL isn't really the best developmental league for goaltenders anyway. Ever since his days in the Q, though, he played 1 year in the Austrian League, having a .908 save percentage over there, and then made his way over to the AHL and the ECHL. Last year, the guy was in the AHL full-time, had a .912 save percentage in 29 games, played the best save percentage he has posted since his AAA junior days in 2015-16, where he had a .923 save percentage with that team over there. This season, though, Olivier Rodrigue has a .938 save percentage in 10 games and a .209 goals against average. Ever since Jack Campbell has been sent down, things have gotten so much better for Rodrigue. It's almost like Pickard and Rodrigue being good in the AHL was part of the system that they're running over there in Bakersfield. Now, if you take a look at it, Rodrigue is literally the best goalie in the entire AHL for save percentage, and in terms of goals against average, he's 2nd. Only Clay Stevenson of the Hershey Bears has a better goals against average. Rodrigue has 10 games played and only 20 goals against, period. Olivier Rodrigue is arguably, if not definitively, the best goaltender in the AHL right now, and because of this development, there is some pretty intriguing discourse that has started out with Oilers fans in regards to what options they have with this. Here's another tweet, though, that talks about the Rodrigue record. Bob Stouffer said this: he's had 4 starts in the last 8 days for the Condors, and in these 4 starts, he's got a .301 record, a .199 goals against, and a .942 save percentage. So just within the last week, in 4 games worth of play, Olivier Rodrigue is posting up a .942 and just under a 2 goals against average. That is nuts. This guy is going off in the AHL right now. Here is another tweet that goes out there and talks about Oilers goaltending. Oilers goaltenders in December. In the NHL, Stuart Skinner went 5-2 and had a .913 save percentage. Calvin Pickard went 2-1 with a .901. AHL hockey, you saw yourselves Olivier Rodrigue, who went 3-3, but despite not being a positive winning goalie, he had a .936 save percentage nonetheless. Meanwhile, Jack Campbell went 2-2, and he had an .877. So Campbell still is struggling, as we had come to expect ever since the record that he posted up earlier on in the year. Oh my goodness, big thank you to Brandon Anderson for the live subscription here whilst we're recording the video. Skinner is on, Pickard is treading water, and Rodrigue is thriving in an increased role. Add an NHL 1A type, and this looks solid. And then Jonathan Willis goes out there and says, yeah, treading water was not meant as a negative comment. If your organizational number 3 treads water when called upon, that's a very good thing. Yeah, you kind of get the point here that Willis is making. But with this idea in mind, with Stuart Skinner doing all right, with Cal Pickard treading water, with Olivier Rodrigue dominating in the AHL, I wanted to turn your attention to one more tweet that kind of ties it all together and makes a really interesting idea. Here's what Ahmed went out there and said the other day. Jordan Binnington was called up around this time in 2018, and Olivier Rodrigue is completely dominating the AHL. I'm not saying this could be another Binnington situation, or maybe I am. Only one way to find out. Now, what exactly is Ahmed referring to? Well, Jordan Binnington. I gotta remind y'all of this because not everybody was a hockey fan back in 2017-18, but for a good chunk of Binnington's career, he was mostly an AHL guy. He was an AHL player mostly up until 2017-18, and he didn't really have himself a good starting role in the NHL. This was up until the 2018-19 season, where when the St. Louis Blues were one of the worst teams in the league, they called up Jordan Binnington in December, he went off, and eventually the Blues won the Stanley freaking Cup that year. Binnington was a career AHLer, and then once he was given that opportunity, he had a .927 save percentage in 32 games played with the Blues and a .914 save percentage in 26 games as they won the Stanley Cup. Ever since then, Binnington has been the main guy, and he's been a starter. Olivier Rodrigue is in a similar position where if the Oilers, who are struggling or who were struggling at the beginning of the year, wanted to call upon him and use him as a number one, this may not be the worst idea in the world. And in fact, if you go over to the Edmonton Oilers sub, there are a few other conversations that are talking about the status of the team and the record of the team right now. Like this one. The Oilers are only 2 points behind last year's team at this point in the season. Last year, after 32 games, the Oilers were at 35 points. This year, after 32 games, they're at 33 points. I'm not saying that excuses how he played to start the year, but given how he finished last year with 109 points, a similar finish and we're likely top 3 again in the division, if not top 2. And we know this team is capable of going on a run and picking up their game in the second half of the year. We also have one of the easiest strength of schedules remaining, bottom 5 in difficulty, especially in January. Now, contrary to this belief, the problem is the rest of the division is doing a lot better than last year, so the climb will be tougher. It'd be a combination of a fantastic winning record and some luck for the others to drop off, which is not in their control. I think they should end up in a wildcard spot if they continue to play well. But that's the thing. These analyses are not going out there and bringing up the idea of a Jordan Binnington-like redemption for this Oilers squad. No, I'm not saying I want this to happen. I'm a Canucks fan. I want the Oilers to stink as long as they can. But Jordan Binnington was a complete revival story within the St. Louis Blues organization that carried a losing franchise that season to a Stanley Cup. And Olivier Rodrigue is doing really well in the AHL that if you wanted to propose the idea, I mean, it makes sense in theory, but theory alone can only get you so far, right? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this development of Oilers goaltending, how Jack Campbell is still doing pretty bad, how Stuart Skinner and Cal Pickard are treading water in the AHL, but how Olivier Rodrigue has gone out there and dominated. Do you think they should give him a chance? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99, and bye.